Hello, everyone. My name is Christine Lhowe, and I'm an assistant professor of art and design at Seton University. This presentation is a case study of the ongoing adaptation of a research project since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. With Me, an intergenerational game kit, was created pre-pandemic to combat social isolation in older adults. Its fundamental purpose was to encourage people to spend time in person with one another. I'll be presenting to you the research that informed the project, the initial implementation, and recent adaptations that were created for use during the pandemic when the CDC's social distancing requirements restricted us from being physically together. Our need to connect is the strongest evidence of our shared humanity. We are so highly interdependent on each other that isolation not only affects mental well-being, but contributes to physical decline. In older adults, ages 65 and over, a population largely affected by loneliness, social isolation is associated with a 50% increased rate for dementia and other serious mental conditions. Older adults with active intergenerational connections report increased well-being, mental health, and quality of life. I conducted ethnographic research, speaking with older adults with varying phases of ability, ranging from independent to those needing full-time care. And of 150 individuals, 52% reported feelings of loneliness, and 74% wished they had more opportunities to interact with different age groups. Additionally, there was a pattern. Those I was speaking with had a greater amount of self-acceptance than I witnessed with younger individuals. They were proud of their life story and eager to share it with me. The psychologist Erik Erikson refers to this desire to pass off wisdom in order to guide the next generation as generativity. Keeping that top of mind, I then conducted research with younger generations, ages 15 to 45, asking why it was that they may not spend time with the older adults in their lives. The most common reason was because of lifestyle differences. Meaningful interaction is easily lost because our lives are not always integrated in a way that leads to a path of connection. The project, With Me, Intergenerational Games That Spark Connection, began as my MFA thesis research at Vermont College of Fine Arts. It posed the question, can design deepen connections between generations? Can it bring people closer together through the exchange of life stories and encourage us to spend more time with one another? The original kit contained 3 card games, each game focusing on a different way to connect through simple prompts. Participants act as co-creators, with interactions being a unique representation of their shared life experiences, bridging the gap between generations by exposing our similarities. Since it began in 2013, With Me has been tested and produced in low quantities for use in a number of settings, including one-on-one interactions between family members and larger groups meeting for the first time. Some reflections I've received include, what we learned is that we are more alike than we are different. We got into talking about many different parts of our lives, mostly because the games began the conversation, but it didn't stop there. In February 2020, With Me was in the last stages of production before implementation at a nonprofit serving older adults across New York City. Social distancing requirements in mid-March put this indefinitely on hold. Loneliness in one of the most vulnerable populations to COVID-19 was magnified. It called for a virtual solution, which raised the question, could it be successful with a population that is perceived to be hesitant in participating virtually? There were and are a few barriers in adapting seamlessly. One, there's the digital divide. Older adults are less likely to be skilled with technology. 2, older adults are less likely to own technology than younger individuals. And 3, they are also more likely to have physical and mental impairments that may prevent them from being able to easily interact virtually. While a virtual solution is not possible for all, my research found that in general, older adults who are able and have access have been and are willing to learn and engage virtually. I'm currently in the first phase of revisions and user testing. The games are recreated as an interactive PDF where participants gather through a video conferencing platform such as Zoom, where one participant will share their screen. The visuals were enhanced with a heavier focus on accessibility. To ensure better legibility on screen, A heavier weight of the typeface for the main prompt was used, and the point size was increased. I also slightly increased color contrast to ensure all text meets the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines requirement of a 4.5:1 ratio against its background. Accessibility features for screen readers were implemented, such as searchable text, heading structures, selecting a primary language, and adding bookmarks. The content was revised to better fit virtual interactions, including more specific prompts, which were based on findings that organic, free-flowing conversations that occur in person are at times more difficult to achieve virtually, especially at the start of a conversation. As of January 2021, I'm in the process of creating a pilot program where I'll be training elder care professionals to run intergenerational virtual gatherings. I'm also in conversations regarding how caregivers can use with me during virtual home visits. While it's difficult, if not impossible, to replicate in-person time together, as a human species, we're learning to adapt. The virtual adaptation of With Me was created as a substitute, not a replacement. However, in exploring how we may design meaningful interactions on a virtual platform, we may discover benefits that carry into a post-COVID world. Thank you very much.